Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in the state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent, it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corrupt people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter, it's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much-needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society.
Ghetto, run, keep going on, let's process. For children of Israel who really love rights. So just I and I say watch a man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel. I she never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, we gotta bust down Babylon walls. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war cry. Fight down. Me say Rastafari. War and cry. And do the up righteousness. Hey, we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah,
Jah Rastafari, save all people.
hey, we love Jah, we love Jah,
Jah Rastafari,
we love Jah.
Jah Rastafari, save all people.
Put time away again. Listen,
Yeah!
so just as I and I say, watch your man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace, but we penalize. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way, prepare the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down war and
Fight down war and crime,
Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah,
Jah
and we love Jah,
Jah Rastafari, preserve all
and we love Jah. Me love Jah,
Jah
me love Jah.
Jah Rastafari, preserve all.
Me love Jah, Rastafari,
Rastafari.
Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. And then DJ Twink.
Good morning. Do you think justice was served in the Jolyan Silvera murder case yesterday? And if you don't think it was, what are your reasons? I have my own reasons and my own contention with the sentencing, as well as with the structure of our justice system, which rather confuses me. One second, the globalist. 1 second. 1 second. Can't see this. Yes, Debs, I can. Hold on. Yeah. I can. I don't know what YouTube is doing with me from the other day. They are shadow banning me and all sorts. But I'm seeing the comments on all the channel, both in the studio and in the control room. But YouTube seem to be playing with my channel. Right. Morning, everyone. Welcome. We're out here on a Saturday morning because I was meant to come out here and talk about this thing last night. I put out an article on it as well, just explaining the sentencing. But I really never expected better. I really don't know what's going on, why YouTube keep playing with my channel. I'm confused. He started on the I'm not even going to deal with the sentencing on the firearm because I knew whatever sentence was handed down will be run concurrently. So for the purpose of that, we only focus on the sentence for the killing of his wife, because that he started at 25 years. And then using mitigations, he ended up with 20 years and 10 months, taking off the time he've already served, credit for pleading guilty and not to put the children through the horror of going on the witness stand and all of that. Only that part I could understand. All the other mitigations that Bryan Sykes gave him benefits for was literally bullshit. And then when you turn to the aggravating factors, because when he started at 25 years, then the mitigating factors can knock it down, or the aggravating factors can push it up. In my view, having some legal understanding, there were aggravating factors in relation to the children that outweighs the mitigating factors that the court accepted and gave him credit on, such as aggravating factor where after he murdered his wife, he left the children to discover the body of their dead mother. And then you move on to the whole plethora of cover-up that continued after that. He also had criticisms for the police officer that attended the scene. I don't think he went too far enough, or his criticism of the initial police officer was robust or damning enough, because I think the court needed to pass some more damning criticism on the work of the police initially in that case. And he got credit for those mitigating factors, but even though going through the aggravating factors, they meant nothing. And this is some of the galangin in the justice system. When you are the accused, your human rights is more taken care of than the dead. No really have no human rights anymore. Are your human rights the court really cater to? I mean, I understand if the children had to go on the witness stand in a full-blown public trial. I do understand and take into account what that could do to their mental health. I do. Yeah, YouTube definitely playing with me. I do take that into account. But there's a worse thing that these boys have to live with, where they walked in and find their mother dead, to find out that their mother was killed by their father. That's an almighty thing that these boys will have to live with for the rest of their life. One of the mitigating factors as well was he was a good father, he was a good this, he was a legislator, all sorts of bullshit. But in my view, this was a show trial. This trial was laced all over with classism. Now, the classism in this trial is what confuses me. And it's leading me to question the Chief Justice as to whether he understands his position of Chief Justice. Because Chief Justice is the head of your judiciary. It's the top of the pecking order. Yes, Shauna, even all of them something there Bryan Sykes explored yesterday. His guilty plea was tactical at the point when he plead guilty, because he knew from January of 2023 the ballistic evidence against him, which was the strongest evidence in the case. So if he had pleaded guilty, then he would have even got lesser sentence. Believe you me, if him did plead guilty much earlier on. But Bryan Sykes recognized that he was being very tactical and weighing up whether there's a loophole where he can drive through. Now, here is my confusion. And this is where the classism comes in. What you're looking at on screen is the structure of the Jamaica court system, which I really don't understand, because it's not structured in how the court system is structured in the UK. So the structure here rather confuses me. But I'll try to explain it to you the best I can. Now, you're looking at the bottom. That's the petty session courts. Petty session courts are very, very minor offenses. Sometimes they're more done on a mediation basis, or the fine, if there is a fine, it will be very, very minimal. So petty session court deal with the lower issues in our society. Things where I think restructuring our justice system, we can have a council of elders in community that settle those type of minor dispute that would free up time and money in this system anyway. Then on that long line you see above the red, that's the resident magistrate court system. I think now they call them parish court. Now, within that structure, you have many different limbs of it. You have the coroner's court, you have the judge's court, you have the traffic court, you have the night court, the tax court, the family court, the juvenile courts, and the small claim court. The small claims would be more dealing with civil issues. Family court as well deal with civil issues as well as some tax issues as well. Now, what we refer to as a home circuit court system in our country, it jumps a notch above the resident magistrate court system. That is what we would refer to in the United Kingdom as the Crown Court system. Now, where you see in the middle here, those three in blue in the middle, you have the Supreme Court, and this is my most contentious issue in Jamaica, because this confused me as a legal academic when they make reference to Supreme Court here. Now, what this ought to be is the Jamaica High Court, because we don't have a Supreme Court. The Jamaica High Court then in that high court structure, you have divisions. You have the criminal division, the civil division, the commercial division, and the constitutional division. Sitting above that in the purple is the appellate court, the appeals court, the highest authority on justice in Jamaica, the appeals court. Now, in the appeals court, this is where the Chief Justice sits. This is where the Chief Justice sits, below those two green. Those two green you see at the top. To the right is the Privy Council, and to the left is the Caribbean Court of Justice. So Bryan Sykes' bench here is in this purple area here, the Court of Appeal. That's Jamaica, highest court on Jamaica soil. Above the appeals court, you have the Supreme Court, which we know still is of, or if we move from it, it would be the Caribbean Court of Justice, or if not, we form our own Supreme Court. Now you see the confusion where a Supreme Court is below an appeal court. This is why I say the structure is confusing. It's not Supreme Court, it's High Court. All right? Now, let me tell you the problem with Bryan Sykes now. In the classism in this case, Bryan Sykes, he possibly does it in other trials, but I note it in this trial, jumped down. And this is madness in the justice system. And I'll tell you why. Bryan Sykes, the Chief Justice of Jamaica, came down from the Court of Appeals bench, sits in the Home Circuit Court as a trial judge. Now, at the level where it says Supreme Court here, it was in the criminal decision of the what they call Supreme Court, which I call High Court or Home Circuit Court, which this decision was made. Now, if Jolyan Silvera is appealing, he's going to appeal to the appeals court. Now, the appeals court is Bryan Sykes' bench. Bryan Sykes is not the only justice in the appeals court, but he's a chief justice. He's the top of the pecking order in the appeals court. Now, if Jolyan Silvera appeals, this goes to the appeals court. Almost, it's not Bryan Sykes who is going to hear it. Let's say the justices who are hearing that case needs advice from the Lord Chief Justice, from the Chief Justice. Now, do you understand the doubling up? The Chief Justice have no role in these lower courts. This is madness. This is classism. And these legal minds in Jamaica, they're not explaining these things to you. But the Chief Justice coming down from his bench of the Court of Appeal, come down to a trial judge. Can you imagine the Chief Justice decision comes back to his bench for appeal? So Bryan Sykes is trial judge and appeals court. What a corruption. What a corruption. Because as Chief Justice, he's not meant to hop down lower than the Court of Appeals bench. He is the pecking order at the Court of Appeals. And those of you who have a lawyer friend and a lawyer MP or whatever, ask them to explain to you if I don't madness. How can How can the Chief Justice be practicing as a trial judge in our country? Trial judge are for people less experienced than a Chief Justice or a Court of Appeal judge. This is classism. Are you this was the snobbery, Bryan Sykes? Are you saying there's nobody, none of your staff were qualified, none of your judges were qualified in the Home Circuit Court to hear that case? Why Bryan Sykes have to step down from the Court of Appeal and come down to the Home Circuit Court? Because what Jamaica confusion is, because these trials are done in what is called the Supreme Court, we don't have a Supreme Court, and we must restructure the confusion. Because we can't have two Supreme Court, one in a Jamaica and one in a England. I don't suggest this structure. Jamaica have a high court and an appeal court, or final appellate court is the Privy Council. That's our Supreme Court. We don't have a Supreme Court in Jamaica. And that word is confusing and contentious. We have a high court. High court, which a high court has various divisions. The criminal division, the civil division. Because the Home Circuit Court is what we would call the Crown Court in England. What that is, what we call the Home Circuit Court in England, in Jamaica, no. That used to be called the assize system in the United Kingdom, where the king's chief go from different area to hold sessions, just like how you see how the Home Circuit Court system operates in Jamaica. But what Bryan Sykes did in this case was step 2 branches down. Bryan Sykes is head of the appeals court. He's the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice is your highest authority in the judiciary. The Chief Justice is the highest authority in the judiciary. So how on earth the Chief Justice know? This is even confusing to the law students, because when you're going to read a case like Jolyan Silvera conducted in trial court, and the trial judge was the Chief Justice. Over here we call them Lord Chief Justice. It makes no sense. This is corruption and classism. And it tells me that Bryan Sykes don't know in job, or the whole of the people them in the judiciary don't know their job. Or they are happy to be snubbed by Bryan Sykes saying, you don't have the experience, expertise, and the class for this case. This is a form of politics. But what is wrong? What if this goes to appeal? It goes to the chamber, the bench of the Chief Justice, not necessarily his bench, but the Court of Appeal is his bench. He's the highest judge on the bench of and the Court of Appeal's bench. This is madness and confusion to me. How the Chief Justice stepped down from the appeals court and come down to the trial court. The Chief Justice is not a trial judge. A Chief Justice is the head of the appellate court. So how the head of the appellate court get to come down in the Home Circuit Court? We don't understand it. Maybe it's because I don't understand how the justice structure in a Jamaica setup. Maybe we need to come out there and do a course on that because it's hard to understand from afar. But hmm, given that we are the Westminster system, this is very, very confusing. And I am sure if this court comes to the Privy Council, it would kind of shock the justices that this case, the Chief Justice was the trial judge on the case. It's confusing. Yeah. Bryan Sykes is the Chief Justice in our country. He's the head of the appellate court. But these lawyers, them what we have in our country, them, you see, because the profession is about status and money, they will sit down, and say the every, so they will pull over the public eye, see the nonsense played in front of us, and they'll just stay quiet. But I can't stay quiet to it because you would never dare. The only time this happened in the United Kingdom, there was a justice called Lord Denham. Lord Denham was a very rebellious judge, very rebellious. He was elevated all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, the Privy Council, same thing, same set of judges. But what he did, he said the Privy Council, that the Supreme Court was too boring. So what he did, he dropped back down to the appeals court and stayed there. He never crisscrossed between the Supreme Court and the appeals court. In Lord Denham's view, the most cases are settled either at the High Court or the appeals court. Very few cases get to the Supreme Court or the Privy Council. So the appellate court, the appeals court, the Court of Appeal has action is always going on at the appeal court because people tend to want to challenge all the way up to that level. So he stepped down from the Supreme Court and decided he will stay at the Court of Appeal because there's a lot more action there. But what we are seeing here is a total different thing. In Lord Denham's case, he still remained within the appellate jurisdiction. What Bryan Sykes is doing here is crossing over to jurisdiction. Why this is contentious and not good for justice, I would argue. Him being a child judge in this case, it is likely, or in any case, it is likely that that case will be appealed to the appeals court, where Bryan Sykes is the head of the appeal court. You see the contention and the double standard. What if Bryan Sykes make an awful decision, what you call them, error in law, or what's the other one, erred the law? This is going back to Bryan Sykes' bench. Bryan Sykes' justices may sought his advice on the case when it comes to appeal. You see the madness. Bryan Sykes must stay out of the Home Circuit Court. The Home Circuit Court is not for chief justices. It's for what we call our parish judges, our district judges, or whatever. I don't know how they structure in a Jamaica. But this is at the Crown Court level in the Westminster system. The Home Circuit Court is what we call the Crown Court level here. And then if you appeal, you have to appeal to the High Court. If you lose in the High Court, you have to appeal to the Appeal Court. If you lose in the Appeal Court, you have to appeal to the Supreme Court. Now, in the legal structure, there are some cases sometime that does what you call a leapfrog, where if it have public or constitutional importance to it, it would go from the High Court all the way up to the Supreme Court. So it leapfrog over the Appeals Court and go from the High Court to the Supreme Court. But I am utterly confused by Bryan Sykes sitting in our country as a child judge while he is the Chief Justice in our country. If that doesn't confuse the legal scholars them in our country, then maybe them overused to the corruption. But me not say why any legal scholar shouldn't have problem with the appeals that the Chief Justice sitting as a trial judge in our country. That's utter corruption. That's classism in our justice system. That's Bryan Sykes saying, only me can deal with a case of such magnitude. This case is high profile. Bryan Sykes, the Chief Justice job is not about being high profile. You know, me notice with the Bryan Sykes, me notice you become a media judge now. Every time you see the camera, you talk pick. Mrs. say y'all become one of the optic now. You are becoming one of who carry out their duty in optics. Because every minute me see you in the news. Do you understand the job of a Chief Justice? Ask anybody who understand justice system if this is not madness. If the Chief Justice can sit as a trial judge, that means Bryan Sykes can go sit in our resident magistrate courts as well. Don't? That means that Bryan Sykes being the Chief Justice don't mean say Bryan Sykes can go sit in any court across the country. I don't saw it go. Everybody's in that order seek advice from Bryan Sykes. See what Bryan Sykes say as authority. Is it that Bryan Sykes uno come down there? Uno come down there, them send you down there to do the ruling, to do this case, so that they don't challenge the Chief Justice ruling? I don't know. Because if this is a case where would I say fight and tagged up to the Privy Council, I'm sure the justices of the Privy Council, their eyebrow would raise to see the Jamaica Chief Justice in the trial courts. In the Crown Court. You understand that the demotion that is Bryan Sykes? Or it have to be a dictatorship or a useless organization when I have no rules and no structure. The Chief Justice sits at the top of the pecking order. If Bryan Sykes think to say it too boring up a for him bench, all him do drop the robe and come down. But you can't wear the robe of a chief justice and the robe of a trial judge in our country. Which one do you want to wear, Bryan Sykes? Because the Silvera case was a huge climb down for Bryan Sykes. Bryan Sykes don't hear trial. Bryan Sykes hear appeal. Does Bryan Sykes understand his job? Maybe one of the journalists who have access to him need to ask him, how is it that the Chief Justice ended up in the trial court? What a self-demotion. But when it comes to the justice, there was no justice here. There was no justice here. The first wrong move was by the police who went to Silvera police friend who went to the scene where, according to in Bryan Sykes' word, the police became overwhelmed by Silvera grief, knowing that Silvera was acting up because the police see things that raises his eyebrow. But Bryan Sykes didn't go far enough in criticizing the shoddy work of the police that gave Silvera a lot of time. The police, this wasn't Bryan Sykes' criticism, this is my criticism. The police, after the post-mortem as well, they'll allow Jolyan Silvera to be on street for too long. Jolyan Silvera should not have been allowed to attend Melissa funeral because by then everybody knows that Jolyan killed Melissa. So the police, there was lots of curry favor. There was lots of curry favor handed to Jolyan Silvera from the very get-go. From the very get-go, there was a lot of curry favor handed to Jolyan Silvera, all the way up to sentencing yesterday. But to be honest, we really didn't expect anything too much better. We know the system where we are dealing with, and we know how the system cater to color, status, and money. We know how the system cater to color, status, and money. We don't know we can't come out here and not turn up on Donald Trump. We don't know that, don't we? No. Donald Trump and the European friend them. You remember just the other day, when it come to the Greenland, when they want tech from them, you would remember how he insulted them, and he have a lot of boastful ways of telling us America can go it alone. And this is my problem with the Americans, because we out here remember history.
Russia and
But they don't seem to remember, because it's not Trump alone that says America can go it alone. We remember President Bush II said it as well. America can go it alone, or it will be the coalition of the willing. And the willing did certainly join into that about 20 year what a war. Donald Trump come make the same mistake again. America can go it alone, especially in an illegal war, without any tried to get legal authority. But now we see them a walk all over the place and I beg for help. One of the person put note in famous European partners where him and them a fight at the moment, like KINGSTON where 1 foot in, 1 foot out. The sausage roll from under the bed, then end up under the sofa, and then you try roll out the sausage again. The sausage roll under the whatnot, and I just saw the sausage all over the place. So put KINGSTON aside. The other little girl in France, she 1 foot in, 1 foot out as well. Now Spain tell them outright, me no know the nonsense. So Donald Trump had threatened trade war with Spain. 20 people with them a turn to do. Donald Trump a turn to one, Israel a turn to one. We remember just the other day in the White House. We remember how J.D. Vance and Donald Trump gang Zelensky and beat him off in the White House and tell Zelensky, you're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. No, it turned out that was bad mind. No, history can put it down in a book. So when Donald Trump there tried to fight off Zelensky over World War III, it was bad mind. He wanted to start it himself. Because since if Zelensky gambling with World War III, and then him decide to start World War III, so one can say that is grudgeful. But Donald Trump turned to the same Zelensky and asked for operational help. Because to say, the drone them where Russia use beat Ukraine are the Iranian drones as well. And them says Zelensky must develop a way of dealing with them. Because I don't know if you remember some scenarios during last year where some of these drones ended up into Poland and which other part. And it was said that Zelensky people them develop a mechanism where they can divert the drones. So Donald Trump is calling on Zelensky for help, to help with the drone warfare where Iran are carry out upon them. However, Donald Trump will still tell you that they have disabled everything for Iran. Now, one of the things that has been coming more clear in this war is that the Mossad's agents, all of these attacks you see across the region are not necessarily Iran, because Mossad agent is being arrested in, I think, Saudi Arabia and UAE, where they are carrying out bombings as well, and to bring in other countries into the war. It is also said that they weren't the Iranians weren't the one who fired at the base in Cyprus. It was the Mossad agents, as well as the drone that hit, is it Azerbaijan? The Iranians are saying, no, that's not us. So it is said that Mossad's agents are trying to pull other country into the war on their side by carrying out these attacks in other country to make sure other countries join them. Now, the Iranian president, Pezeshkian, came out and apologized to the Arab countries. I don't know what to take this as tactical or a moo maybe, apologizing to them for the attacks and promise them not to attack unless America attack Iran from their base. And the president of Iran's excuse is because the military commanders were taken out, the regional armies across the country take matters into their own hand and declared an all-out war on America. Let's see how that develops. Let's see how that develops. The YouTube can go on. YouTube don't want people to talk about the truth. And YouTube now get me to tell lie out here for little money. And that these social media, I don't notice me not go back, me not go up on TikTok anymore because of the Israeli them own it now, even though they own everything. And them own everything now. People are get straight. You see like how so much of the Gaza war information did come out to it over TikTok. This was what led the Israeli them to force Trump to acquire the higher percentage in a TikTok so they can get shut with them. You know how much people are lost in TikTok page? Don't me not even me will go scroll over there, but me not have time for post anything over there. So bad as that dirty one you on Facebook be, you have like a more ledger to talk on them to junk than the way how all TikTok hit a go on. So me not have time for TikTok, but YouTube now go force me for talk when me no want talk. So before that, me go write it on cartridge paper and nail it up on light post. But this is Israel asking Ghana to come in at the war, come help them. Now, Pakistan said they might join the war. I tell you the dichotomy of this. Now, majority of the Pakistan population is Shia Muslim, which is the same sect in Iran. But so the population of Pakistan is on side with Iran. Now, the Pakistani military dictatorship want to have this love affair with Trump. Because they want to have this love affair with Trump, they'll fall over Trump for anything. They'll fall over Trump for anything. So, after Israel attacked Doha last year, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia saw that their security aligned to America were risky. Now, Pakistan is also a nuclear power. So what Saudi Arabia did after that Doha attack, they signed a security pact with Pakistan. If you attack Pakistan, you attack Saudi Arabia. And if you attack Saudi Arabia, you attack Pakistan. So under that pretense, the Pakistan military dictatorship is planning to join the war. They haven't yet. How that will pan out with them and their population, who is already tearing down America embassy, then that would be another big thing. Israel is calling upon Ghana. Ghana, you know. But we're watching this space. Let's listen. But we're watching the space of this war because let's see who thinks to say milk till in the mother cow titty. So them a go can buck the titty and milk come down. America breast dry. America squeeze our milk in hatches. America titty dry up.
Russia and China, they know that Iran is not a legitimate. The administration in Ghana is aware of it. It's no secret. We call also the government of Ghana to join its voice. Ghana has a very important voice.
Israel ambassador to Ghana is currently pleading on Ghana government to support them, to back them on their campaign against Iran. Now listen to what he said in this video for your own understanding before you comment. Listen carefully.
Russia and China, they know that Iran is not a legitimate country anymore. Legitimate country, yes, but not a legitimate regime. They are doing it because of Russia and China, because of geopolitical reasons. But I think that by and large, the international community understand that this source of evil in Tehran should be rerouted. And this wish, I think, is joined by all well-wishers in the world. I think also the administration in Ghana is aware of it. It's no secret. We call also the government of Ghana to join its voice. Ghana has a very important voice, especially since the last year. In Africa, in the international community, Ghana is an important member of the IAEA, of the Board of Deputies of the International Atomic Energy Association that is dealing with Iran day in and day out. Ghana is an important player in the ECOWAS. Ghana is an important player in the AU. And in all those arenas, in all those international fora, we hope that the government of Ghana will join its support for the international campaign that is calling and looking and wishing for a strategic change in Iran, in the administration in Iran, that will bring an end to the instability we had so far and will open the road for a Middle East which is stable, which is peaceful. And I'm sure this is a joint wish of, again, all good or well-wishers in the world, including the government of Ghana.
I don't know if people around the world are watching the mood of the Israelis and the Americans when they do come in front of the media. I don't know if people are really watching how somber they are, because Israel is facing something that it did not prepare for, and they are hiding it. But when George Galloway speaks,
Israel is taking.
When George Galloway speaks, I have no reason to doubt him. This is a man on the battlefield from the days of colonization and apartheid. This is a man that has demonstrated against every war. This is a man that stands vehemently against Israel atrocities, have many friends, have many Jewish friends, both him and Jeremy Corbyn, because not all of there are Jewish people. It must be said that there are Jewish people within Jews, the Orthodox Jews, that do not support this project of Netanyahu and the Americans to colonize and control more land. The people of Israel at the moment are being held hostage by Benjamin Netanyahu. Let George Galloway tell you why.
Israel is taking a bloody good hiding. But you don't know it. You don't know it for two reasons. First of all, anybody releasing a picture or video of the damage in Tel Aviv is immediately sentenced to 5 years in prison. And secondly, because the mass media, CNN, BBC, Sky News, have accepted Israeli censorship and are therefore not broadcasting the footage that they have taken over a Tel Aviv that now looks like Gaza. How do I know that? Because I've got friends in Tel Aviv. Sheinkin Street, Tel Aviv. Near Dizengoff Square, Tel Aviv. And they've been walking around, and it's they who tell me from their own mouth that Tel Aviv now looks like Gaza. How could it not? Because the air defenses over Tel Aviv are no longer operational. The Iranians are hitting with the most powerful ballistic missiles. 50 ballistic missiles hit Tel Aviv last evening alone. They're also lying to you about the number of American casualties. How can all these CIA bases, all these American embassies, all these foreign bases of the United States, how can they all have been hit and destroyed with only 4 dead Americans? I'm going to take a flyer, and it's this. There are approaching 1,000 dead Americans, and they can't be hidden for a...
When the people of America realize the amount of dead bodies with Donald Trump had found with all of those bases that have been blown up across the Middle East, all of these embassies, the bodies are going to start to come home, I think, this week. The 6 that they owned up to will be coming home and will be repatriated, I think, this week. But remember, Donald Trump tell you all to prepare for many more dead bodies. They know about it already, but they cannot deal with the outrage from the public. If the public were to be told the truth about this war, the street of America will be in chaos. And this is the other danger of the war from both the Iranian, the Americans, and the Pigraylis. The propaganda warfare is moving faster than the conventional warfare. You really don't know what to believe or who to believe, because the Americans them can show you the damage them do in Iraq, but they can't show you none of the damage with Iran in Iran. But they can't show you none of the damage what Iran do in Israel. They can't show you the damage what Israel do in Lebanon. But the propaganda warfare, and this is the part that them use to confuse us, the populace, during war, is the propaganda warfare and the media narrative or the media blackouts. Now you see why this big pressure come down on social media. Benjamin Netanyahu take it even to a higher notch. In people can't send out anything to the wider world. Like George Galloway, who have contact inside, they can't tell him what go on. But people can't post out anything. Besides, the people have been held hostage underground. Look for the fall of Israel, because you see when these people come from underground and then realize that they are now living in Palestine, you are going to see a wave of refugee from Israel into Europe and America. Australia surprised me. They seem to be staying out of this. They surprised me because they normally go hinge and feet. I look like them in Canada. Donald Trump, I wake up them in Canada. Because Australia and Canada used to, under any other president, them go with whatever illegal war America go. This time, them two seem to keep themselves out of it. But don't take your eye off of the economic disaster to come, because I know we already start feeling the island gas push. That is going to continue to go up, and the more that go up, the more risk to our economic fallout. So prepare yourself for martyrdom, prepare yourself for terrorism attacks, left, right, and center around you, especially in this summer. Those are we who live in the UK. We know what are them target over here, so bridges, trains, train station, underground, buses, crowded areas, you know. So all our war, this war is putting us at risk wherever we are, because Muslims globally will start attacking American assets in every and any country. That puts all of us at risk, tied with the economic uncertainty to come. I tell you, this war is to pull down this global order, to usher in AI and digital banknote and digital ID. Mark my word. Mark my word. We're moving into whole heap of new things. But telling you all the while, the power structure of this world is changing faster than we know it. The reason why you should keep up with it, you don't want to be caught off guard, nor do you want to be left out of anything that might benefit you. All right? So, we're going to enjoy the rest of the weekend. If we don't see it tomorrow evening, we see me Monday morning. All righty? So have yourself an amazing weekend, and don't forget the world that we live in. Don't forget the world that we live in. Don't be sidetracked. Don't get swallowed up by the false narrative either. Let us have discernment. All right? And let us check multiple sources rather than rely on the first one we see or hear. Okay, so thank you very much for being here. Have yourself an amazing weekend. Thank you. Thank you. Ladybug, you come when we are done. Join us back. We're most likely going to come back on Monday morning. All right? So have yourself an amazing weekend. Thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon from Global TV.
Too long in our little ghetto, run keep going on less process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just try and I say watch a man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I she never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Day or night, we gotta bust down Babylon walls. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war and crime. Fight down. Me say Rastafari. and cry and do the righteousness. Hey, we love and we love Jaja. And we love Jaja. Hey, we love Jaja. We love Jaja. We love Jaja. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just as I and I say, watch your man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace, while we penalize day or night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way for Rastafari. Fight down war and fight down war and fight. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah, Rastafari, preserve all, and we love Jah. Me love Jaja, me love Jaja, Rastafari, preserve all. Me love Jaja, Rastafari.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.